5 years have passed and the quiet ranch feels emptier than ever. Horses graze slowly in the paddocks and the wind carries a faint echo of memories that no one wants to speak aloud. Amy walks through the yard carrying the weight of years spent waiting for someone who never returned. The gates creak in the distance and a shadow appears at the edge of the ranch. A familiar presence, one thought lost forever, slowly moves closer. Hearts are about to skip a beat as the past steps back into the present. The sun is just rising over Heartland, painting the fields in shades of gold and soft pink. The morning is quiet except for the distant neigh of a horse and the occasional rustle of leaves. Amy walks toward the barn with a basket of feed in her arms, her mind filled with the usual chores, but also with a quiet ache that never really leaves. She glances toward the ranch gate and notices something unusual. A figure is standing there, still and almost hidden in the early morning light. At first, she thinks it must be a delivery or a visitor she doesn't recognize, but something about the posture feels familiar. The shoulders, the way the figure leans slightly on the gate, the boots planted firmly on the gravel. She stops for a moment, her breath catching, and a chill runs through her. Could it really be who she thinks it is? The camera follows the shadow, capturing small details that hint at a presence long missed. The coat is slightly worn but well cared for. The sleeves hang loosely over the hands. The figure shifts, and the movement is deliberate, steady, like someone who has faced the world and come back stronger. Amy's mind races as she tries to make sense of what she is seeing. Her heart pounds and she feels the memories of the past 5 years flood back, the laughter, the moments shared in quiet corners of the ranch, the promises made and broken, the pain of absence that never truly healed. Each step the figure takes forward seems to echo in her chest, louder than any sound in the peaceful morning. The horses near the barn notice the change in the air. Their heads lift, ears prick toward the gate. They sense something familiar, a presence that feels like home even after years of waiting. Amy lowers the basket, her hands trembling slightly, and takes a cautious step forward. She cannot believe her eyes. The figure begins walking toward her slowly, each step measured, careful, almost as if testing whether the world is ready to see them again. The wind blows gently, ruffling the coat and the hair of the figure, revealing just enough to stir recognition but not enough to confirm it fully. Amy stops midway, her heart aching with anticipation and fear. Is it really Ty or a cruel trick of her imagination? The ranch is bathed in the soft light of the rising sun, making the scene almost dreamlike. Amy's breathing grows heavier as the figure comes closer. The gravel crunches under boots with a sound she knows as well as her own heartbeat. Her mind races through everything she has imagined in the past 5 years, the what-ifs, the maybes, the silent wishes whispered into the night. And now the figure is so close that Amy can almost feel the presence without even touching. Time seems to stretch, the world holding its breath for the moment when the shadow will reveal itself completely. She can see the shoulders straighten, the hands relax slightly at the sides, and a familiar rhythm in the walk that has been burned into her memory returns. The distance between them feels both immense and incredibly small, as if the years apart have melted into a single heartbeat waiting to be shared. Amy finally moves another step forward, her eyes fixed on the approaching figure. Her chest tightens and every muscle in her body feels alert, ready for the moment of truth. The wind shifts, carrying with it the scent of leather and hay, and she feels a strange mix of hope and fear, joy and disbelief. The horses shift their weight nervously, sensing the tension in the air. Amy's hands tighten around the basket, but she cannot move it from her grasp, frozen in a combination of awe and disbelief. The figure's presence is commanding without a word, familiar yet changed by the years. The anticipation is almost unbearable as she inches closer, heart racing, knowing that the next moment will change everything. The first section ends with the figure only a few steps away, still faceless in the early light. Amy's mind is filled with memories of the past, questions about the present, and fear about what the future holds. The quiet of Heartland is broken only by the soft crunch of boots on gravel and the horses' uneasy movements. The shadow has arrived, the past has returned, and everything Amy thought she knew is about to be tested. The moment hangs in the air, heavy with emotion. ready to explode into a reunion that has been 5 years in the making. The figure stops just beyond the barn, a few steps away from Amy, and for a long moment neither of them moves. The morning light catches the edges of the coat and the boots, and the world seems to shrink around them. The horses shift nervously but do not approach, sensing the tension in the air. Amy feels her chest tighten as a flood of memories returns uninvited. Images of laughter echoing in empty stalls, whispered conversations by the fence, and quiet afternoons spent riding through the fields. The figure stands still, almost motionless. Yet every line of their posture speaks of a journey endured, battles fought in silence, and a longing that mirrors her own. Amy's hands release the basket, and it lands softly on the ground. She wants to speak, to call out, but no words come. Her throat feels tight, her heartbeat a drum that seems too loud for the peaceful morning. Every instinct in her body tells her to step forward, to bridge the space that time has stretched between them, but something deeper holds her back, a fragile mix of hope and fear. She notices the figure shifting slightly, the coat brushing the gravel, a hand moving almost imperceptibly. The movements are so familiar, so unmistakably Ty, yet the years have shaped them differently, making the shadow of the man she knew into someone new yet still achingly familiar. The camera lingers on small details, the way the wind lifts the edge of the coat, the subtle tilt of the head as if measuring the distance, the slight pause before footsteps forward. The horses move closer, sniffing the air, recognizing a presence long absent. Amy feels her lips part slightly, finally finding the courage to whisper a single word, barely audible over the soft rustle of leaves and distant calls of birds. The figure freezes, the subtle movement of the body betraying a recognition, a hesitation, a heartbeat shared across the years. It is a moment suspended in time, where the past and present collide, where longing and fear merge into a fragile thread connecting them. Shadow begins to close the distance slowly, deliberately, each step a careful negotiation with the space that has grown between them. Amy takes a cautious step forward, then another, and finally stops again as if testing reality. The morning seems to hold its breath. The wind carries scents from the fields and the horses, mingling with something unfamiliar yet comforting from the figure's presence. Amy's mind races with questions she cannot voice and memories that refuse to be silenced. She remembers every smile, every shared glance, every promise that felt unbreakable. The years apart have not dulled the intensity. If anything, absence has sharpened it into a quiet ache she cannot hide for a fleeting moment. The figure pauses, and Amy notices the smallest details that make her heart twist. The coat is slightly worn, the boots scuffed in ways only time and hardship could create. The hands are steady, almost gentle, yet carry the weight of experiences lived far from Heartland. Amy's chest swells with a mixture of relief, longing, and fear. The quiet stretches between them, an unspoken conversation heavier than any words could carry. Every step forward feels like stepping back into a story paused for 5 years, yet the pages are slightly changed, holding secrets she has not yet discovered. The reunion, though faceless and silent, holds more emotion than any words, more tension than any confrontation. The scene ends with them almost within reach, yet the distance remains just enough to keep the suspense unbearable. Amy's eyes fix on the shadow, heart pounding in sync with the soft rhythm of the morning. The wind shifts again, and the horses nicker softly, sensing that the familiar presence is not a memory but reality. The world of Heartland is quiet around them, the sun casting long shadows over the fields, and the unspoken connection between Amy and the figure grows stronger. Time seems irrelevant, the past and present colliding, leaving only anticipation and a tension that promises the next moment will change everything. The figure takes another step forward, and the sound of boots against gravel breaks the morning stillness. Amy freezes, unsure whether to run toward the shadow or stay rooted to the spot. Her chest tightens, and a mixture of hope and fear swirls inside her like a storm. Every instinct tells her this is Ty, the man she lost, the man who vanished from her life without warning, yet the years have shaped him in ways her heart cannot yet comprehend. She notices the subtle sway of the coat, the rhythm of the steps, the slight lift of the hand to brush hair back from a face she cannot see. Everything about the figure feels familiar yet strange. A mirror of memories and unknown experiences. The horses shift nervously but do not move away. They sense the presence, their ears twitching, noses lifting toward the approaching figure. It is as if the animals themselves recognize the shadow, acknowledging it as someone who belongs here. Amy lowers her hands to her sides, feeling the ache of anticipation in every fiber of her body. She steps closer, the gravel crunching softly beneath her boots, and the shadow mirrors her movement, a silent dance of recognition and hesitation. Neither speaks, yet the silence is charged with meaning, heavier than words could ever be. The space between them feels smaller, yet the tension stretches it impossibly long. Amy's mind races as flashes of the past swirl before her eyes. She remembers the laughter, the quiet moments in the barn, the gentle encouragements and stolen smiles. Memories flood back uninvited, sharp and bittersweet. She forces herself to take a deliberate step closer, her heart hammering in her chest, and the figure responds with a small, almost imperceptible movement. The coat shifts. A glint of light catches the edge of the boot, and for the first time in years, she feels a connection stronger than absence, stronger than time. The shadow is more than just a memory. It is real, tangible, and walking toward her with purpose. The wind picks up, rustling leaves and lifting strands of hair around Amy's face. She senses the figure's presence in every detail, the faint smell of earth and leather, the rhythm of the steps, the quiet authority in the stance. Her breathing grows heavier, anticipation building as if the world itself is holding its breath. She takes another step forward, her hand lifting slightly as though wanting to reach out, to touch, to confirm that this is not a dream. The figure halts just a few feet away, close enough that every detail becomes sharper, yet still veiled enough to maintain the suspense. Amy's heart races, a mix of longing and fear, because 5 years of unanswered questions are about to collide with the present. The scene slows, the morning light casting long shadows across the ranch. Amy studies the figure, taking in the subtle cues, the tilt of the head, the shift in weight, the quiet strength in posture. Every step, every small motion, tells a story of survival, of struggle, of journeys taken in solitude. She feels the past and present converging in the space between them, an invisible bridge connecting years of absence to this single moment. The horses nicker softly, circling closer, as if urging her to recognize what her heart already knows. The tension is electric, unspoken words hanging heavy in the air. The shadow is almost within reach, and Amy's hand twitches, aching to make contact, to feel the proof of the man who was gone but has returned. The first sign of recognition comes subtly, a tilt of the head toward Amy, a shift of the shoulders, a pause that seems to say everything without speaking a word. Time stretches and bends around them, the ranch falling into silence except for the soft crunch of boots and the faint breathing of horses. Amy's eyes water, a mix of disbelief and relief washing over her as the realization dawns slowly, almost painfully. This is him, Ty Borden, returned from the past, walking through the gates of Heartland after 5 years. And yet, the story is far from over, because the journey he has taken and the secrets he carries have only just begun to reveal themselves. The shadow pauses just a few steps away from Amy, the early morning light catching the edges of the coat, the curve of the shoulders, the subtle rhythm of breathing. For a heartbeat, the world seems to hold its breath. Amy's chest tightens as every memory, every ache of the past 5 years presses forward. She wants to speak, to shout, to call his name, but the words are trapped somewhere between hope and fear. The figure shifts slightly, almost imperceptibly, as if testing whether the world is ready to accept him back. And in that small movement, Amy feels the echo of everything they lost, everything they never said, and everything they once shared. The horses shuffle nervously, their noses pointing toward the approaching presence. They are silent witnesses, sensing the quiet tension, sensing the bond that no time, no distance, no absence could erase. Amy takes a slow step forward, feeling her heart racing with anticipation. Each movement of the figure is deliberate, precise, carrying weight and meaning that her mind struggles to interpret. The coat sways gently with the wind, boots brushing against the gravel, a sound that is at once unfamiliar and achingly familiar. Every detail pulls her closer to a truth she had spent years imagining, hoping for, and fearing. Amy's eyes focus on the subtle cues, a tilt of the head, a shift of the weight, a hand brushing against the coat in a way only she would recognize. The wind lifts the figure's hair just enough to reveal hints of the man she remembers, yet he carries the imprint of the years gone by, shaped by journeys and trials she does not yet know. Her hands lift slightly, almost instinctively reaching, hesitant, trembling, aware that this moment carries more than just reunion, it carries the weight of years lost. The unanswered questions, the secrets that time could not erase. Her heart beats in synchrony with the quiet rhythm of the approaching figure. The space between them charged with a tension that words cannot contain. Shadow moves another step closer, boots crunching softly on the gravel, the sound echoing like a heartbeat across the empty fields. Amy's mind races with memories, the laughter in the barn, the quiet evenings by the fence, the whispered promises that once seemed unbreakable. She feels tears prickle at the edge of her eyes, a mix of relief, disbelief, and joy. And still, neither speaks. The silence is thick, but it is alive with emotion, with the gravity of what it means to see someone thought lost finally standing in front of you. The horses shift, drawing a little nearer, sensing the undeniable connection, the unspoken acknowledgement of homecoming. Finally, the figure comes to a stop so close that Amy can feel the presence without touching. She reaches out instinctively, her hand hovering, trembling with the weight of 5 years of waiting. The figure tilts slightly toward her, shoulders relaxing as if drawn by the same force. The wind carries a faint scent of leather and earth, of journeys far away and a return that was inevitable. Amy's breath catches, heart soaring and sinking at once, knowing that this is the man she loved, lost, and now found again. The world feels suspended in that delicate moment, balanced between past and present, fear and joy, absence and reunion. Time has folded over itself, leaving only two people, two hearts, and a silence filled with more meaning than words could ever hold. The scene ends with Amy and the shadow standing near each other, the distance minimal yet charged with anticipation. The horses settle around them, calm but alert, as if understanding that something monumental has shifted. Amy's eyes glimmer with unshed tears, lips parted as though to finally speak his name, while the figure remains poised, faceless yet unmistakable. The reunion is real, but the story is far from over. There are answers to be revealed, secrets to be confronted, and a path forward that must navigate the shadows of 5 lost years. The camera lingers, capturing the tension, the emotion, and the beauty of a moment. Time refused to erase. Amy and the figure stand just steps apart, yet the air between them is heavy with unspoken words. Every detail of the shadow, the way the coat hangs, the subtle sway of the shoulders, the careful placement of each boot step carries stories from the 5 years of absence. The ranch seems to quiet even further, as if holding its breath, aware that something extraordinary is unfolding. Horses nicker softly, brushing close, their eyes alert yet calm, sensing the return of someone they remember. Amy reaches slightly forward, hesitation in every movement, her heart pounding with a mixture of joy, disbelief, and fear. This is Ty, but he is not exactly the man she left behind. The figure shifts, a slight motion that speaks volumes. The air vibrates with a tension born from years of separation, secrets carried silently, and a past that refuses to remain buried. Amy feels the pull of memories, the gentle laughter in the barn, the quiet conversations by the fence, and the promises that were never fulfilled. She senses that he has changed, that the shadow before her has endured experiences she cannot yet imagine. Yet, there is familiarity in the way he stands, in the rhythm of his steps, and in the quiet confidence that comes from surviving a life far from Heartland. She realizes the reunion is only the beginning, a fragile moment on the edge of a story that demands to be told. The wind shifts, rustling the leaves and carrying a faint scent she recognizes without fully understanding. The figure tilts slightly, pausing, almost as if listening to something only he can hear, or perhaps measuring the right moment to reveal what he has been hiding. Amy's hand hovers, trembling, wanting to reach out and bridge the gap between them, yet restrained by the invisible weight of secrets she cannot see. The shadow steps closer, boots crunching softly on the gravel, each movement deliberate, measured, and impossibly intimate. The horses adjust, noses sniffing the air, sensing the emotion that pulses through the quiet morning. Every heartbeat between Amy and the figure echoes in the fields, stretching the space between hope and fear. Amy's mind spins with questions she cannot yet ask. Where has he been? What has he endured? Why did he disappear for so long? Each question hangs in the air, unanswered, yet weighted with possibility. The figure's posture shifts again, shoulders relaxing just enough to suggest trust, or perhaps a willingness to confront what has been left unsaid. The tension reaches its peak, a delicate balance between recognition and mystery, reunion and revelation. Amy feels both relief and anticipation, knowing that the shadow before her holds stories that could change everything. The past is back, and it refuses to stay hidden infinitely. The figure stops just within reach, faceless yet undeniably him. The wind brushes past, carrying the scent of hay, leather, and something else unfamiliar yet grounding. Amy's chest tightens as she realizes the reunion is real, but so much remains unknown. The shadow tilts slightly, an almost imperceptible gesture that promises answers, yet keeps them hidden just enough to build suspense. The horses settle around them, calm but alert, as if understanding that a turning point has arrived. Amy's eyes glisten, lips parted, caught between fear, hope, and the overwhelming pull of the past meeting the present. And as the camera lingers, the ranch holds its breath, the shadow stands ready, and the secrets of 5 lost years prepare to step fully into the light. The scene fades slowly, leaving Amy and the figure poised on the brink of revelation. The audience is left with the unspoken promise that Ty's return is only the start of a journey filled with secrets, challenges, and emotions too powerful to ignore. Hearts are racing, curiosity is building, and the story hangs suspended, ready to explode in the next episode, where the truth behind his disappearance and the life he's lived away from Heartland will finally come to light. The figure stands only a few feet away from Amy now, yet the distance feels infinite. The morning light stretches shadows across the ranch, highlighting the quiet strength in the presence before her. Amy's eyes search for answers, for some sign that confirms what she already knows, that this is Ty Borden returned after 5 long years. The horses stir quietly around them, their calm presence a contrast to the storm of emotions building between Amy and the shadow. Each subtle movement, the shift of shoulders, the small tilt of the head, the gentle brush of the coat against the boots speaks volumes. Years of silence, absence, and unspoken words hang in the air, waiting to be addressed. Amy finally takes a step closer, her hands lifted slightly as if reaching out to touch a memory, to bridge the gap between the past and the present. The figure mirrors her, a silent dance of recognition and caution, revealing just enough to stir the heart but holding back the full story. The wind carries a faint scent of leather, earth, and something she cannot place, an unfamiliar trace of the journeys he has taken while away. Her chest tightens, and she swallows hard, aware that this reunion is only the beginning. There are truths, hard and complicated, that have yet to surface, and the shadow before her is both homecoming and mystery wrapped into one. Tension stretches taut, every heartbeat amplified. Amy notices the smallest details, the way the figure's hands rest at the sides, the subtle movement in the boots, the poised stillness that signals control and experience. She feels both relief and fear, knowing that the man she thought she lost has returned, but that his absence has left marks neither time nor distance can erase. Her mind spins with questions. Why did he leave? Where has he been? What secrets has he carried all these years? And yet no answers come. The silence is alive, thick with anticipation, and the ranch itself seems to hold its breath as the moment hangs suspended, fragile and electric. Then the figure tilts slightly, almost imperceptibly, toward Amy. A subtle gesture that promises a revelation yet keeps it just out of reach. It is enough to make her heart leap, enough to remind her of the bond they share, but the mystery remains. The shadow steps a fraction closer, boots crunching softly on the gravel, and Amy feels the pull of the past and the weight of the unanswered questions converge in a single instant. The horses shift, sensing the tension, nudging gently but remaining watchful, as if urging her to pay attention to every detail of this long-awaited return. The moment is intimate, heavy, and poised on the edge of discovery. Scene lingers, faceless yet brimming with emotion. Amy's eyes glimmer with unshed tears, lips parted, caught between fear, hope, and the overwhelming pull of the man who has returned. The shadow stands ready, a presence shaped by absence, mystery, and survival, carrying stories that are not yet revealed. And just as the tension reaches its peak, the screen begins to fade, leaving only the echo of the gravel, the stirring of the horses, and the lingering question: what has Ty Borden experienced in these 5 lost years? And how will his secrets change Heartland? For the final moment leaves the audience suspended, hearts racing, curiosity at its peak, waiting for the next episode where the mysteries of Ty's disappearance, his journey, and the truths he carries will finally unfold. The faceless shadow is home, yet still unknown, and the story hangs in the perfect space between revelation and suspense, leaving viewers desperate for the continuation of this long-awaited return. Amy stands frozen, her hands barely lifting toward the figure, heart pounding in her chest. The shadow before her is unmistakably him, Ty Borden, returned after 5 long years, yet he carries a presence shaped by the journeys and struggles she cannot yet see. The wind drifts gently through the fields, lifting strands of hair and edges of the coat, as if nature itself is drawing attention to the reunion. The horses settle quietly around them, sensing both calm and tension, aware that this is a moment of immense importance. Every detail, the tilt of the head, the shift in posture, the careful rhythm of each step speaks of a story untold. Amy's mind races with questions, each one more urgent than the last. Where has he been all these years? What trials has he faced? And what secrets has he carried silently through time? The shadow tilts slightly toward her, a subtle gesture full of meaning yet revealing nothing concrete. It is enough to reassure her that this is real, enough to stir memories of laughter, love, and quiet moments shared at Heartland, but not enough to answer the mysteries that have haunted her. The tension between them stretches like a wire, alive and humming with anticipation, and the ranch itself seems to pause with them, holding its breath for what is to come. The camera lingers on small, telling details. The crunch of boots on gravel, the soft sway of the coat in the wind, the subtle movements of the horses, all heightening the sense of a homecoming shadowed by secrets. Amy's eyes glisten with unshed tears as she finally dares a small step forward. Her hand hovers, trembling, suspended between hope and fear. The shadow moves in perfect synchrony, closing the space just enough to intensify the moment, yet holding back the full truth. It is a reunion that is both comforting and alarming. A reminder that while he is back, the story is far from complete. Final beats of the scene are silent yet filled with tension. Amy and the shadow stand almost face to face, faceless yet unmistakable, sharing a moment that feels larger than the ranch itself. The wind shifts again, carrying faint scents of leather, hay, and distant travels, teasing the story of the life he has lived beyond Heartland. Amy's lips part slightly, as if to speak, but no sound emerges. Her heartbeat echoes in the silence, matching the rhythm of the approaching revelation. The shadow remains still, poised, as if waiting for the right moment to reveal the truths that have shaped these 5 years of absence. Then the screen begins to fade, leaving only the echo of boots, the quiet movements of the horses, and the heavy, unspoken tension hanging in the air. The audience is left with one undeniable thought: Ty Borden is home, but the secrets he carries are waiting to surface, and Heartland will never be the same. The episode ends suspended in that delicate balance between reunion and revelation, hope and fear, past and future. Hearts are racing, curiosity is soaring, and viewers are left desperate to discover what Ty endured, why he disappeared, and what his return will mean for Amy, the ranch, and the life they left behind. The final text overlay appears. Next episode. The truth behind Ty's disappearance, leaving viewers with suspense and anticipation for the story that is only beginning.